Do anybody else be recording videos on your phone and then it just deletes itself while it's recording and it's not in your deleted videos? It just like disappear. It happened to me yesterday. I let it go. And then today it just happened again. So I'm just like, what is going on? Like, is my phone like hacked? Like, y'all trying to censor me through my phone? Like, what is going on? Anybody else been having these weird things happening to their phone? Because all I was just trying to do is like, boom. I shared the story about how I met my mom, my Most High Mother of the Holy Spirit. I was just trying to tell you how I met my dad. Because I met my dad first. And like, I'm just gonna just briefly, I don't know, I'll try it again. So when I met my dad, not my 3D dad, spiritual dad, my spiritual father. When I met him, he told me who he was through the story of Zeus. And he told me like who I was in that story was Athena. And you know the story about Athena and Zeus. Some say like, you know, it's a story like Zeus turned himself into a bull, you know, went and did what he did, made a baby, and then, you know, tried to consume the baby because he was scared of her. And then Athena was like wisdom, represented the owl, the green, and things like that. That's what kind of got me into nature, because at that time I was seeing and hearing owls. Like right when he told me that story, I was still living with my mom at the old house, and you know, he broke it down to me like that. And then there was a time where I think I briefly shared my brother, my youngest brother. That same time I was staying with my mom. Out of nowhere, Spirit Most High had already told me like, this is a test. I didn't know what test or what have you. I didn't know what test meant. Like, but my brother randomly come in my room, and he's like got this like level of awareness which surprised me. He was like, hey, do you know that the mark of the beast is money? So I was like, okay, you are awake. I said, yes. And he, you know, he started telling me all this stuff. So me and him like getting closer. So I'm like, finally, like, you know, he tapped into his spirituality or whatever. Because, you know, we all grew up in a church, but he never really let that Bible go or like experience or, you know, try to explore further or what have you. So I didn't hold him for that. I'm like, you know, Holy Spirit will teach you when you're ready to learn, in the energy or the frequency to learn it or whatever. And so I just let that be. And so me and him started getting cool. Then after a while, he just flipped the switch on me. And that was the day I think I told the story too, where he had got in my face and like he wouldn't let me out my mom's room. And then like in my head, I see stuff happen, and I saw myself like Spartan kick him out the window, me jump out like a monster, like the Hulk, and just go, "Rrr." I don't like being challenged. That was my ego, but I'm like, I didn't do nothing to warrant the energy he was projecting off at me. It was just like he wanted me to step down from my belief system, because at that time I was like, you know, the devil has been forgiven for what he's done. That's what people don't understand yet in these stories or what have you. The devil made up for what he did. And I had told the story the way that he told it to me, like pretty much like he did something to the mother, molest, what have you, did it to the mother, and then left her like for dead, like just left her, and you know, stole from her, stole her power. And then he also told me that story through the movie Moana with Tafiti and Takar, and Maui stealing Tafiti's heart and turning her into Taka. So he stole the feminine and made the masculine present. So that's how he was explaining that story to me. So that's why I always talk about like Moana and these different movies, because sometimes when I do learn, it is through like media. It's like it can be a TV show. Like one time I was watching Judge Mathis on YouTube, and you know, those are pre-recorded shows. And I'm watching this one and then somebody wanted my attention because on this pre-recorded show, the whole screen just went blank, and then it started like it was gray screens, like just and then it said something, I forget, I wrote it down, but it had said something really loud. It was like just a sentence, and I said, what the heck? And so I listened to it, but I was freaked out. And then I had rewind the show and push play again, and it didn't happen again. Went off the episode, rewatched the episode, didn't happen again. So I was like, okay, this is how you guys communicate with me. I get it now. So boom. So I just wanted to share that part. So when my brother challenged me, I didn't really want to hurt him, because that's like the last thing I ever want to do to anybody. I don't care what you got going on against me. Like I said, down to my core, I'm always love. But at the same time, here, I'm human. You can only provoke me so much before you get what you're asking for. But me knowing better, I'm going to try to leave and avoid any type of confrontation, because I know what I'm capable of. And then after I do what I'm capable of, it makes me feel horrible, because it didn't have to be like that. Then I'm like, I could have just walked away. And then I'm like on myself. And this was since I was a kid. So like a teenager-ish. So that's why you wouldn't catch me in too many fights, because I just try to avoid them. But if they come to me and they keep coming to me, I'm gonna handle it. Then like, oh, but it didn't have to be like that. I don't get any glory out of doing that. I get nothing out of that. It makes me feel bad. But at the same time, you're not gonna bully me or try to push yourself off on me. I'm gonna fight back. So then boom, he challenged me. I'm trying to get out of my mom's room, looking at my mom and say something. She's all throw her hands up like she ain't in it. So I'm just like, okay. So I'm like trying to get around him. He wouldn't let me out the room. Then he's all like, yeah, because he's a Leo. And he like all in my face, like roar, like he'll do this and do this to me. So I'm just looking like at my mom again, and she's still like her hands up like she ain't in it type thing. So I'm just like, okay. So the moment he put his nose to mine, that's like, I'm a bull. I'm a Taurus. I'm a bull. You put your nose to mine, like I don't even like nobody touching me. That's just one. Two, you in my face, and then you touch the most sacred thing on me is my face. That was it for me. So I didn't like want to hurt him. All I did was just push him. But when I pushed him, because I had this boiling anger in me, he flew across the room. I didn't want to make him fly. I just wanted to leave out the room. But as soon as I pushed him, then boom, now my mom wants to jump in it. And then like, oh, you shouldn't have. And then now I'm just angry because I'm like, you let all of this happen. You watched it all go down. You said nothing. You could have been like, hey, that's your son at the end of the day. Like anything, like, but you threw your hands up. But now you want to come at me now that I'm angry, like y'all pushed me to this point, and now you want to like, oh, calm down and don't put your hands on him, and all I did was push him. I told you what played out in my head, and I didn't even push him out the window. I just pushed him and he flew across her bed. And I left out the room. But my mom still like doing this, and like it set me off. And I just went upstairs because like at that time, God had already told me like go move back home with my mom, get away from the people I was staying with. But you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. You don't know what's said. And then like they even started letting me hear, like I couldn't even be in the same room. Then I'll hear people talking about me like while they're sitting in the garage. And I'm just like, okay. So I'm like, instead of just like boom, 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 confrontation did happen, but it didn't get that crazy. But I ended up moving and leaving and going with my mom's. I'm like, spirit was right. But they just had to, I guess I just had to just hear, see, and believe it for myself before I found out like people was really like crazy. Because like I don't sit and, do type stuff like that and just like, whatever. Boom, I leave, go back with my mom. That happened like not even a month of being at my mom's. And then I'm angry because I'm just like at God, I'm angry. Because I'm like, I could have just tried to go get my own place, tried to do something else. They're like, no, go home. It's time to recalibrate. So then this happened, not even a month of staying with my mom. And I'm angry at God because I'm like, I just started trying to put my trust in you. I never really believed in you. And every time I tried to, it just like stuff just kept happening. I'm just like, I'm going to stick with no religion and all this other stuff. Like, I'm just going to believe in myself because that's all I've been having with myself. And so I'm angry because I'm like, you let me believe like this was true. I'm supposed to be back here. How am I supposed to heal when these people keep messing with me? And so I went upstairs in my room and I just started screaming like, like, why did you tell me to come back here? And I was like, and I was like, I just started believing in you. I was like, I was just going in and I was talking my crap. I ain't gonna go all to what I said, but I was angry. And I had every right to be. And then that's the time like he revealed himself to me again. And I can just see the whole silhouette, the shadow figure, everything. Well, it wasn't shadow. He was cloaked in white light. And he just stood and he was just tall and he's like smiling at me. And I'm still mad, like, don't you ever talk to me again. I'm like, I liked my life before I knew you. Like, I'm just, I don't know. I was mad. And then like he just looked at me and he laughed. He said, there you are. I was waiting for the real you to emerge. That's what you suppressed. And he said, that's who I was waiting for. That's who needs help. And I'm just like, what you mean? Like, you want me mad? And he was like, you know, how bent out of shape I got, how angry that fire I conjured up inside of me. And all he could say was, there you are. I was waiting for you to show up. And I'm just looking at this man like, bro, what you want? Like, what you talking about? And then that's when he said, now that I show him, like I came to him in true form because I was angry and he was just telling me like I have every right to be angry about my life, about everything, you know, it's been going on with me. So telling me like, but with me, I was still trying to keep that Christianity and then just keep forgiving people, but it was taking chips off of me, like chipping away at me every time, just like God said to forgive. And then like whatever the situation was, I'll just but it was making me bitter because I'm just like, why am I here to suffer? All I keep doing is just get into situations, oh, we're gonna be cool and this gonna happen. It's always the same thing, the same cycles. I keep meeting the same people. Even if I move across, I lived in Louisiana, like I moved, like lived everywhere pretty much, and I'm just like, I keep meeting the same people, not even understanding that it was my pattern, my cycle. That's why I kept running into the same things, but I had no clue. And so I'm just like, you're the devil. You're not God and da 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 da. And I'm just like, he's like, yeah. Talk your crap, but I'm going to help you. And we're going to be better. And then like he helped me calm down like a little bit, you know, just gave me a spiritual air hug. And you okay, baby. You're my daughter. I got you. And I'm just like, just still like... just because I'm angry because like, where do you put all that anger? I was swinging at the air like, because I really wanted to hit my brother, truth be told, but I'm like, at the end of the day, I really don't want to hurt him. So I'm like, but I got this anger, it's pent up and it's just in me, like, let me out, let me at him. And I'm just like, that's all I can do is just scream. That's all I need to do. And that's when God showed up, or my dad, whatever. Boom. So the next day, I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to keep to myself. My mom didn't really do nothing, but I ain't talking to her for a minute. I ain't talking to my brother, and I ain't want to be in the house. Come on, why did you tell me to come back here? Now I'm feeling trapped, stuck. I don't got nowhere to go, and like this, that, and the other. So I just go sit outside. I'm like, I'd rather just be outside with nothingness. And that was the first time, like, when I started making my connection back with nature. So when this happened, I seen it was a grackle bird, and it was black, and it had blue on it and green, and it was just one bird. And like, I never really, like, you know, you see birds and stuff in your life, but I never really like stopped and actually like looked at a bird, or you know, like trying to look in his eyes and make connection with this bird. So I go sit outside and I'm still fuming off the anger from yesterday, because I'm just like, I just can't believe this. Like, you know, you don't do nothing to nobody, but people just feel like, oh, because you don't do this, you're just a punk or you're weak. And then they just keep pushing at you until you just like snap off. And then they're like, oh my God. Like, and then they're trying to gaslight you like, oh, but you could have left me alone the first time. I didn't do anything to you. You could have left me alone, right? So boom, I'm sitting outside, this grackle coming up, and I'm still mad. And then grackle, my mom had like this little brick wall that goes up to the side of the house or whatever. It's kind of like a divider from the two houses, whatever. And the bird, it started off at the bottom of the bricks and it started just easing its way towards me. And I'm still mad. I looked at the bird, said, what you looking at? And the bird still staring at me, but it never left. But it didn't get too close to like, you know, scare or freak me out to make me like, oh my gosh. And then And every day I would go outside, that same, just that one bird, it'll come fly back to that same spot. And then it'll just sit out there and it'll stare at me. And then like, it kind of just softened my heart, like maybe the second or the third or the fourth day, I'm sorry. And then I just started taking bread outside. And then, made bread. I mean, yeah, I did make bread too, like unleavened bread. I found out that the birds actually love unleavened bread. I just make it with flour and water, no salt, boom, boom, boom. And so I just feed the birds, and it was like that connection coming back. And that's how I found my deeper connection with nature. So the whole time, like who I thought was God was talking to me, Holy Spirit's still there. Like they're both there now. So one's on one side, the other one's on the other side. But they're both telling me, like the Holy Spirit to me at that time, she was just like matter of fact, not so much emotion. Just like pretty much like I need you to, wake up type thing. And she was still patient, and she came with her little level of test too. And like they taught me, like they both have taught me so much, but he put me back into like the mindset, like get connected with nature. And I found myself again through the bird, because then when I went to go look up a grackle bird, and that's what he was like just showing me, because Taurus, which is my sign, it's the emerald. But he was telling me, like, if you break down an emerald, you'll see blue in the middle. That is blue and it's green. So I'm just like, bought a random emerald off of the internet. And then sure enough, but this one, it came in like in pieces. There was like emerald pieces. So some of them like was just like different. They were just different sizes. So some of the emeralds had blue in them. Some was green and blue. So I'm just like, oh my God, like this is real. I'm like, okay. Boom. So then I started feeding the birds, and then, a whole bunch of grackles start coming. So I started calling them my God birds, because it was my connection back with God. First connection with Star Wars. That one now was with nature. And then so boom, he's working with me like about all this other stuff. And he was like, are you really serious about not wanting to drink or smoke anymore? And I said, yes. And I said, and I'm like, I'm going to be honest. I'm like, sometimes I do it because my friends do it, and I don't want them talking about me, like, they kind of like peer pressure, like, oh, you too good to drink, or, stuff like that. I'm like, I want to have a backbone to say no. And like, I don't want to drink, because drinking was never my thing. Like, I've always been like a smoker, but drinking was just like another escape to me. So I was just like, and I asked him, I said, could you please stand in front of my addictions? I'm like, I'm not strong enough to face them. And I'm like, please. And he did. And he was like, boom. Told me throw all my stuff away, put it in the trash can. He's like, but don't look back after you throw it in the trash can. If you look back, you're going to go back and get it. Throw it away, keep your head straight, and walk back in the house. And I did just that. Threw away all my paraphernalia. I had full bottles of alcohol that wasn't even opened yet, because I like make sure I never ran out. And I was just like, I threw all of it away, poured it out, threw it away. And I couldn't even believe I did that. And when I threw it away, it was so crazy too. I had just bought some flour, and I buy a lot to like, cause I don't like going to go get it every day or every other day. I might until like I want enough for like 2 weeks, a week, 3 weeks, whatever. If I just get enough. So I had just bought some, and I knew it was time for me to smoke, because first, before I asked for help, I was still smoking. I was like, well, I'm just going to be done after I finish this, because I ain't going to waste it. I spent some good money on this stuff. And then so every one that I would roll up and try to smoke, nothing would happen. And I was like, this just got me fried yesterday. What's the difference today? So I'm like, I'll put it out, roll up another one, and nothing. So I'm just like, what the heck is going on with this? But it had no effect, like no more effect on me after I asked for help. But it was just like my masculine, or just me in fear, still trying to hold on to it, and then just trying to use it as an excuse because I just got it. So then I've got like 3 or 4 rolled up and nothing, like no head change, no nothing. So I was just like, it's time. So that's what gave me the courage to throw it away. Boom. And that's like, to actually just get okay with throwing it away. Then he told me, like, throw it away in the trash can and do not look back. So I was like, cool, did that. And then so fast forward to the story, I just got down to that my mom came from like what we will see as good, and then my dad is what we will see as evil. And me, I'm like in between of good and evil, because before even knowing this, like since I was a kid, I've always known I came from the in between. I just didn't know a name for it. I would call it anything else, like another place. Because, like, when I was a kid, I had full access to the spiritual realm. And everybody around me thought I was crazy because, like, I see spirits all the time, and they just be doing normal stuff like just driving a car, smoking a cigarette, playing cards, listening to music, the same stuff we would do in our waking life. So I'm just like, because me thinking like somebody, passed on, I'm ready to see them like Casper in ghost form, but it's not. They still look like this and they still do everything like in life. So then I didn't really know how to explain it, but it always freaked me out because I knew in my heart that physically nobody was there. And then I'm like, all right, they're gonna start making fun of me if I tell people. So I would just run through the house with my eyes closed. I got acclimated to walking with my eyes closed because I didn't want to see the spirits because I was just a kid. I remember like early as 7 or 8 is when like I remember, as far as I can remember, but younger, I just had like an imaginary friend, which I found out was the Holy Spirit. And then, but when I met my dad, and that's what he was telling me, like he wanted to help me and things like that. And he was like, it's time. And he couldn't watch me keep suffering like this. And then so me thinking like in my head, because I read the book of Matthew, like the people who Jesus was like, oh, shut up, Satan's your father. He called them helligenic Jews. So that's what got me searching about helligenic Jews. So I'm like the devil's my mom, my dad, and then this is my mother. And I'm like, how is that even possible? And then that's why I made that video about Nazareth, like where Jesus came from, the third eye, good and evil. It's the full intuition, like everything, the whole, oh crap. Hey, stay up there. The whole spiritual realm, like he came from Nazareth. This is Nazareth, the third eye, the pineal gland. That's why I made that video, because that's how but I had to go look for other research and other stuff to compare it to. They'll tell me something about me and then I'm just like, okay. And then I'll just go try to find some other research or something to back it up. And so that's why I compared that story of Nazareth to the pineal gland. That's where Jesus came from, of good and evil. And, da 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 da. And so is his parents, Mary and then Joseph. La 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 la. The crown came from Mary, not Joseph. Let that sink in. Like I was explaining this too, like all royalty, the crown, the divinity, it was always passed on from the mother's side of the family. But anyway, so he was telling me the story and then just telling me about me and just really just trying to help me, but just pretty much like say like what he did wrong, but didn't go into details because I'm just thinking now my parents are at a disagreement, but both of my parents live inside of me. And then the one day I'm just like, we gotta have peace in this body, because sometimes one side of me will tell me to do something and full-heartedly mean it. This side of me will tell me to do it and full-heartedly mean it. Like for instance, I was talking to the Holy Spirit when I was living with my mom, and she told me one of my friends was a snake. And I was just like, what do you mean? She's like, you can't always be, giving out like, certain information to certain people because they go back and tell like certain stuff and this and the other. They told me about one of my good friends. So I'm just like, she wouldn't do that. And then another spirit came up and tested me. Another one was like, okay, you wanna, I should like, oh, I'll prove it to you. So I'm talking to this other spirit and I'm like, how can you prove it to me? She was like, tell your friend this. And it was a lie. She's like, throw her off. Tell her partly truth and then fill the rest with the lie. But don't tell her the whole truth because we don't want nobody to know this information right now. Not nobody. But boom. So I'm like, okay, what can I tell her? So it's like, boom. So I told her something about my grandma that just passed, because that's what I was working on in my notebook, like doing like the number charts and like all this other stuff and all this other stuff and all this other stuff. Like doing my number charts, that's how I found out like my mom had 2 miscarriages. And when I asked her, because however I did my number chart, it just ended in a dot here and a dot here, like before my sister and then after my sister, my older sister. Then I had just asked my mom, I said, hey mom, did you miscarry when you were around like 18, 19 years old and da da da? She's like, yeah. Like, why you ask? And I said, do you have another miscarriage after that? She's like, yeah. And told me, I'm like, I can really trust this information. And to me, it just looks like doodles, look like just crazy drawings, but it makes perfect sense to me in my head how it translates back to me after I finish drawing this stuff out. So my mom confirmed like that was true. So I'm like, okay, I can trust this. So I'm just like, okay, boom. So the spirit was like, tell your friend a partial truth with a partial lie, and she's gonna go tell somebody. And the confirmation that you're gonna get that she did tell somebody, she's gonna text you tomorrow, and she's gonna say her stomach is hurting. And I said, huh? She was like, do you want to do that? Do you want that confirmation? So I was like, just a stomach ache. They was like, yeah, the only thing they're gonna do is just make her stomach hurt to give me confirmation that she ain't who she say she is. So I said, okay, sure. The next day, sure enough, that friend texted me. We was like, boo, boo, boo. And she texted me. She told me her stomach hurt. I dropped my phone. And right when I was picking my phone up, here come the Holy Spirit going off on me. It was like, what gives you the right? What gives you the right to impede on somebody else's free will? She's like, I don't care who you are or who you think you are and what powers and abilities you have. You never mess with somebody else's free will. And I was like, well, I was talking to the spirit. She's like, I don't care what that spirit says. She's like, you never mess with nobody's free will. And then I got mad at the Holy Spirit. Was like, dang, like, would you guys just leave me alone? I said, you're the one who gave me the dang on idea. You put it in my head. All I said was yes. And I'm like, I like my life before y'all. Y'all just come with these crazy games. I'm like, leave me alone. That was my truth. That was my God's honest truth back in 2023. And I'm just like, y'all, like, and then but I get it now. Because I got tested again this last year to where I got some type of upgrade to where I can hear everybody's thoughts around me in this house. Like people walk past and then like they just be talking stuff about me in their head. And then like I thought maybe I'm crazy. So then they'll start talking and then I'll finish the rest of their story. They looking like, what the heck? You wasn't even there. You don't even know this person. And then I'm just like, this is true and you're two-faced as well. So now I feel some type of way because I'm genuine. I'm so genuine. And then I'm like, I don't understand why people always try to nitpick at me because I don't want to live the type of life they live or do the stuff that they do. Then they just deem me unworthy. Just talk about me then. And and then so to me, I was getting angry last year. And then so it was to the point where I went back to God and I said, I don't want this ability. I said, it's making me indifferent. I'm like, I don't need to know like what people think about me. I don't need to know like if they have something to say, they'll freaking say it. And if they didn't say it, obviously it's for a reason. I said, but I don't need to know this. I don't need to know this. Then right when I went back to God, I just heard like a big old applaud. And it was like, you did the right thing. And because I'm like, nobody should have this much power or that type of ability, like nobody should. And they just started clapping and said, you did the right thing. That's what we wanted you to do. And then like another instance when I realized I was dream walking and it was like spirits, they presented themselves to me in a spiritual realm. It's like, hey, you want to go see what this person is dreaming about? And as tempting as it was, I said no. And I'm going around minding my own business. It's like, oh, come on, you could just go peek in. They won't know that you saw like dreams. And I said, no, I would never impede on nobody's free will again. I learned my lesson a few years back when the Holy Spirit went off on me for saying, let my friend's stomach hurt to say that she was talking or telling all my business, that she wasn't keeping my secrets as I kept her secret. She was telling mine. And so I said, no, I don't want to. And I said, however, with that person's permission in the spirit, if they come to me in spiritual form and they say, hey, and they give an invitation into their energy, I will come. But no invitation, no. So I'm not going in now. And like to me, it just looks like little intertwining circles, just a whole bunch of circles, and everybody's like in their own little circle, and you like their dreams like projecting. And I'm like, no. And then again, applaud, like you did the right thing, and just like, and then it was like as I started getting more abilities. I got tested almost instantly, but I never knew it was a test. But I just got back to my core memory. Like, I never want to step on somebody's free will. I don't want to intentionally cause harm. Just like things like that. Like, and then like all these things have been tested. So then anyways, once I found out like, okay, the Holy Spirit's in here, and my dad, before I even knew this, the Holy Spirit was my mom. I knew the devil, God, whomever, however you want to look at it, that was my dad. He messed up, but he did okay. Like, he made right by it. And I kind of looked at it like a family fight. Two parents can't get along. They fighting over the kid. Because sometimes my mom would be telling me to chill out. My daddy would be like, knock that person out. Like, knock him out. Knock him out. And I'd be like, no. And especially if they didn't hit me first. And I'm like, no. But it'd be hard sometimes. So then I'm like, I'm tired of going like back and forth. So that's why I told you, like, one time I just like wielded both of myself together. Like, we have to all live in here. Like, get up here and come together. Like, because to me, I'm like, my mom has my left side of my brain. My dad controls the right side of my brain. So I'm like, but I want my brain to just be no sides. No sides in my brain. I just want y'all to get along. And I'm like, if for no other reason, I'm like, if for your love for me, if no other reason, could y'all get along for me? And I'm telling you, that's why I got the headache. And then like I saw two fishes. There were two black fishes. They just kept coming up from like right here. They was like, whoosh, and coming up in my mind's eye and kissing. And it just kept doing this. Just two fishes jumping out of water, and my eyes are wide open, and I'm seeing this. I'm just even doing like this, like, but I'm seeing it, and I'm just like, so I close my eyes, and I'm picturing, and I'm trying to hold that connection, and I'm saying like, if anything I could do, like, just apologizing to both of my parents, because I'm like, to them, both of them feel like they've been done wrong, and like not understood or heard, like their side of the story heard, type thing. So I was like kind of like the mediator between my parents. And before I even knew who they was, I thought it was just God and the devil at this point. I thought God and the devil, and I told them to make up. And they did. And I got the worst headache. And right when I was like gonna open my eyes, because like I get horrible migraines, and like mine looked like electricity. I can just see like the blue and the white electric, just everything in my head, like when I get headaches and migraines. So I'm just like, that's frying my brain right now, like literally electrocuting my brain. And so I'm like about to open my eyes, like go take a shower, and then that's when the Holy Spirit, she was like, she said, don't. She said, let it happen. And she was like, it's okay. And she was like, Jackie, you've been doing Reiki all your life. You just stopped because people start calling you weird. And she said, but it has helped you, has it not? And I was just like, what is Reiki? And she said, pick up the part of my head that hurts, and then pretend like I'm rinsing it under the waterfall, and then put it back in my head. And I did, and instantly my headache went away. And I'm like, I did used to do this weird stuff as a kid. I'm like, I wonder why I stopped. She said, because you got tired of getting picked on. She said, but just because a person don't understand where you're at, don't mean that where you're at is wrong or what you're doing is wrong. They're just not there yet. And then that's just kind of like been embodying me to just keep being myself and stop trying to minimize and diminish my character for other people's comforts. And then so when I did that, both of my parents was like, boom, in agreement. And just like one, we all was together now. And then there'd be sometimes, and then like, that's why I said, like, when both of my parents is in agreement and they be like to do something, I'm doing it, and I ain't hesitating, because there's no argument, and even my heart agree. But when he showed me himself or revealed himself to me, like the first time, it was through the story of Zeus and Athena, and like Athena being wisdom, embodying wisdom. And that's what he told me, that I was a daughter of wisdom, and stuff like that, and all these other things. And that's kind of what me and my brother, we got into it about, because he was talking crap about the devil. And not that I was defending the devil, I was just like, maybe you should do some more research, pray more, understand more, da 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 da. And then just getting down to like even God and the devil was just like masculine and feminine energy. God is energy. Because at first I was thinking like God is water. Because every time I talk to her, like the Holy Spirit, she always takes me to this beautiful place, grass, trees, this big old boulder rock in the water, and then she just sits and talks to me, and it's beautiful. Because I asked her one day, because I'm like, I forgot about you. I've like, I've known her as a child. Like I said, she's been with me my whole life, me not even realizing like she's been with me my whole life, because I grew up, and then it's like I kind of forgot. I just grew up and just stopped doing the stuff I was doing as a kid. And then so I was just like just heartbroken, like I forgot about you, like, just thinking about everybody else that may have forgotten about her too. So I'm like, what do you do when you're alone? Like, what do you do, like, to counteract that heartbreak? Like, you have these children that don't even know that you love them or that you even exist, like, because I didn't even know. And like she was just, and she took me to that place, and then she was like, that was just her serenity, her peace, and that's where she goes and whatever. And so every time, like when I go chill with her, I would chill with her there, because I'm just like, if nobody else remember you, I'll make sure, like, I'm gonna talk about you. I don't know how I'm gonna get it out without sounding crazy, and I'm like, but everybody's gonna remember you or whatever. And she was like, in due time, and just explaining to me like, levels of trauma, and people can only see you or love you as far as they can see or love themselves, and, not to hold it personal, but I don't have to stay around those type of people and like all this other stuff. Just plant my seeds and leave, and don't stick around and watch it grow. I don't have to stick around and watch the growth, because I already know it's going to be beautiful because I planted it. And that's like what she was putting in my head too. So then with him, and then I had a hard time accepting that, and I'm like, I never really told nobody that. That's why I said, like, when I said I prayed and before, like, ask God to forgive the devil, and that's when it just kind of came to pass for me, like things to start making sense. So I'm like, okay, because to me in this life, I never really had a relationship with my dad. I wanted one, but my dad had other plans with his other kids. Like, we wasn't always the closest, and I resented my dad from some of the stuff he said to me. I'm like, Dad, like, ain't all mental illness. You mean that with your whole heart, because you've been telling me the same stuff since I was a kid. And I'm like, imagine, like, wanting your parents' love, and then he's telling you like, oh, even though we're the same complexion, you ain't my daughter, look just like him. You ain't my daughter. Telling me my older sister is his daughter and his real daughter. I ain't his real kid. And like all this other stuff. And the one time when he found out like I dated girls, oh gosh, he flipped the gasket on me. He's like, oh, he tried to like fist fight me. I was 19 years old, tried to fist fight me because I like girls. And told me like I was going to hell, and he wished they would have cut my umbilical cord when I came. He wished that I would have died when they was cutting my umbilical cord. And I'm just like, dang. And then watching him and my sister's relationship, and like they're like this, even him and my brothers, and I'm just like, dang, what am I, just chopped liver? And like I through school, like tried to strive, like make honor roll, play sports, do anything to make him proud. Like only thing that made him happy was me fighting, and I didn't want to do that. And at times I did, just like, oh, like that's my daughter, that's my girl. But I'm like, I don't want to be that person. So I just let him cling to my mom like this. And to now know, like, I have a dad that loves me. They don't even say no crazy stuff to me like this and all this other stuff. And like, just to be loved, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, that was what made me like. And I'm like, even if like that's like I ain't gonna get into that, but I'm like, I go through a lot, and then like just when I meet the spirits, and then they're just trying to tell me like, this is 3D, this is a part of a test, or this person is doing this because of this, and just trying to reason with me to let me know that this isn't set in stone. Everything down here is mutatable and all this other stuff. So I'm like, they even put that level of like I said, hope back in my heart for my dad to forgive him. And that's when, like, when I even turned 30, I'm like, you know what? I'll swallow my pride. I'll reach out first. Even though I'm the child, I'll reach out first and see what's up. Like, we're human. We go through things too. Maybe he don't got a good support system. And, blah, blah, blah. And, I was able to put that behind me and forgive him. I'm like, it still hurts thinking about it, but I'm just like, what can you do? But, just grow and heal from it. And, So I'm like, I know I'm just rambling now, but that's just pretty much how I met my parents. And then when he was telling me like, you don't have to worry about nothing happening, like ever happening, like going against you, like type thing. And the way they explained it is just because I come from the middle region, because my mom came from a higher region, my dad came from a lower region, that I have access to both higher levels as well as the underworld or in the lower levels. And so the first part of my spirituality on my journey, I was in the underworld in the lower levels. And it was my dad, aka who people call the devil. He helped me out and elevated me and pushed me back up, because those times where it's just so much. But they were just letting me know, like, you're protected. Like, you got protection on both sides of the field, however you want to see it. Got protection from good and you have protection from evil. And now that I woke up and have this awareness, evil knows better not to mess with me. And then that's what I'm just kind of getting into. Like, now when I have these spiritual attacks, they're not coming from the actual entities. These are people now. People. And I had just reposted a video about this on my TikTok, because that blew my mind. Because I'm like, this is more real. And I'm not the only person that this type of stuff happens to. And that's why I'm just looking for community. Like, hey guys, I'm here too. Like, we all going through some crazy stuff. But just showing me like these people now are not even using entities. They turn themselves into like a living entity, like doing like magic. And I'm like, I kind of want to learn about that type of stuff, but then I'm like, again, I don't want to learn about that type of magic because I don't ever want to be tempted to use it or to like anything. Like, I know that I don't want to hurt anybody, but in my anger, like when I'm upset, who knows, like I don't want a split second of an action to just change the whole course of things. I'm like, I don't ever want to tempt my heart like that. I'm like, but I kind of low-key want to learn about it. Like, maybe let me mature some more, because I still was just curious about how people can do that, make faces disappear off of a picture, a physical picture you're looking at, and just go whoop while you're looking at it, it's just gone, that type of stuff. And I'm just like, how? I'm curious, but I'm like, I don't want to. So I'm like, and that's why my dad was telling me now, like, just start going upside people's heads. He's like, these ain't, he's like, these ain't even spirits messing with you. These are actual people, and they're like doing like the arts, and they're doing stuff and astral projecting out of their body and all of this other stuff. And I'm just like, this is real. This stuff is real. But like I said, it took me some years, like a few years, to share this story, because I'm like, everybody gonna think I'm crazy. Because that's why I was asking, like, even like the people who's in church, from like that's like Christianity and stuff, like, if God says to forgive even your enemies, do you have the power to forgive the devil? And like, you'll understand, like, the devil, like they explain in the Bible, grants you gifts. The devil has the same powers of God, and once you understand energy, you will understand the God and the devil concept, that it's really a system. And then, like, what helped me understand that is playing The Sims, right? I got a whole family of Sims, right? Each of them got a job or kids in school, but they all have different interests. They want to do different things, right? One person's an astronaut, one's working the bar. Like, they all do different stuff, but then it's only just me having to help all of these avatars. I said, God, like, nothing against you. There's no way you can do all of this by yourself. Applauding, I hear from the background. That's when I started seeing spiders and all these other things. It's like every time I get to another level, it comes with a new color, a number, and an animal or an insect. It's something, but it was all my levels of my spiritual steps that I've been taking. And so when I got to the spider, and I was just like, there's no way, unless you're a magician like Jesus was, turning fish into this and doing that. I'm like, but physically, there's no way that you can do all of this. And then understanding that that's why even the feminine created the masculine, was to help take care of the kids. And like things like that, to be a helpmate, a protector and a helper, right? And that's when I just got down to, I was even talking about William Shakespeare, because I'm like, 'cause at a point when I was a teenager, I would have swore that William Shakespeare wrote the Bible. I'm like, it's the same tone, because like when I read, I can hear just like that person's tone, like when they write, then I can hear when the tone changed. So that's why I'm like, these are multiple people writing. Not one person wrote this thing or even the same story. These are multiple writings because I can hear while I'm reading. It makes perfect sense to me. Don't know. But I'm like, this ain't the same writer. So I'm like, Shakespeare wrote the Bible, and then coming down, Shakespeare was just a system too, a character, a title. And so was Jesus. So was God. So was the devil. And then thinking about collective consciousness now, like you see now, while it's a collective, like the United States, united 50 states into one big country. That's how the concept of God is a unification of. We gave God this title. We put a name on God. We put a name on the devil. We did these things based on what we understood or didn't understand. But it's all really a concept and a system of inner connections and inner workings together. I didn't mean for this video to be this long, but they didn't delete this one, so I didn't say half of what I said on the last one. I probably have to start going live to start talking about that type of stuff, it seems like. But I didn't mean for this to be this long, but I just wanted to share when I found out who my daddy was. I thought I was a helogenic Jew.